Vance to hang Mike Pence, the president responded with this sentiment, quote, "Maybe our supporters have the right idea." Mike Pence, quote, "deserves it."
Now, the delivery there, it can distract from the, boom that she lowers on Donald Trump. But they clearly have, with 9.5 hours of testimony from the former vice president's chief of staff, under subpoena, chief counsel, his former chief of staff also testified. And Judge Ludig, source close to him, promises that he will be giving his final opinion in his live testimony Thursday.
This is a real exclamation point in the testimony, because here we are talking about a plot that doesn't involve violence to use new elections or new electors. We're debating constitutionality. We're talking about whether the courts might intervene or whether we could have a constitutional crisis. And all of a sudden, we're talking about violence. And that's insurrection, a charge we haven't really talked about. We've been talking about interference with Congress.
That's so interesting.
But, that raises this whole notion of seditious conspiracy. And something that has been lacking, or at least that we haven't seen in these hearings, is evidence that the former president intended to use violent means or force to overthrow the government. Suddenly you have talk of hanging Mike Pence. You've got Trump's comments. And I suspect at the end of these hearings, we'll hear the evidence about Trump staying, in the White House, doing nothing, issuing no orders to end the violence. And that's circumstantial evidence. It's not direct evidence. It's not Trump himself saying, "I'd like to use force to overthrow the government." But it's circumstantial evidence of his intent, because if he had wanted to end the violence, he could have, and he didn't. And that could raise the specter of these additional charges being considered at DOJ.
Does that